Hey guys, welcome back. It's Missy, and if you're new here, welcome. I am a life and relationship coach, and on this channel we get to the root of the issue and we learn how to heal and deal. So if that's your thing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would love for you to be a part of the fam. And if you're already subscribed, I appreciate you so much. Today we're going to be talking about going no contact / low contact with a narcissistic parent. I think I want to make two separate videos. One on going no contact with a narcissist, which is everyone else, and going no contact with a narcissistic parent. Because going no contact with a parent is a completely different experience. You are having to let go of having a family. You are having to grieve and mourn the loss of someone that was supposed to love, nurture, and care for you. And that is extremely painful in itself. When you have a narcissistic parent, you feel betrayed, you feel hurt, you feel angry. Every person, no matter how you feel, has had a hope or an image of how their parent was supposed to be, how they were supposed to treat you. And when you cut them off, you're coming to the acceptance that you won't have that. And cutting off a parent is different because a parent's role is supposed to be the one that is supposed to love you unconditionally. They're supposed to be your support and your security, and you unfortunately didn't receive that. And also, people respond to it much differently than if you were to go no contact with a friend or a partner or a sibling. I feel like they guilt and shame you a lot more when you go no contact with a parent versus another person. So what is low contact and what is no contact? No contact means you no longer talk to them, and low contact means maybe you talk to them during the holidays, or maybe you talk to them a couple times a month. With low contact, you're keeping it pretty shallow. You're not sharing too much detail. Everyone decides if they want to go no contact or low contact depending on how much their narcissist affects them. So some people feel like their narcissistic parent is on like the lower end of the scale and they feel like they can tolerate them, just not in large doses. And there's other people that are like, hell no, this person is destroying my mental health. Bye. You are the one who decides what you want to do. A lot of people, they try to force like, don't talk to the narcissist, but like you need to be the one who decides that. Only you can make that decision. So we're going to talk about what to expect and how to deal with it. So you probably are at the end of your rope and you decided that you're accepting the reality that you don't have a real relationship with this person, and it's probably hurting you a lot more than it is benefiting you. So you may need to cut the cord. For some people, it's easy to go no contact with their narcissistic parent because they have all this anger and they're like, this person's a piece of shit. Like, I do not relate to them. No way. And then there's other people where they feel immense compassion and empathy for this person, and it's hard to go no contact. AKA, this is my codependents and my empaths. Also, another huge reason why it's hard to go no contact is because of the trauma bond. It is an intense bond where you are addicted to your abuser because of the highs followed after the extreme lows. Your narcissistic parent ingrains in your brain the importance of them, so it makes you feel like you need them and you cannot survive without them. When you try to cut contact, it will feel like a security blanket is being ripped right off of you. So the first thing we have to talk about is that when you go no contact, it will not be the automatic thing that makes you heal. You will not heal from going no contact. When you go no contact, you'll think like, oh, I feel so much better. And the thing is like, yeah, you'll cut off the abuse, but the pain and the wounds will still be there. So you need to go on your own healing journey to heal those wounds and heal all the abuse that you've dealt with. So when you go no contact, understand you most likely feel immense guilt and shame. You will feel like you're doing something wrong because in society we're always told like, oh, you need your parents, when your parents get older, you're the one who's supposed to take care of your parents, or you've always been that caretaker for your parent and you feel like you're wronging them or you're hurting them because they've guilted you and they've made you feel like you needed them, and you may feel like you're a terrible person for cutting off contact with your parent. So it won't be easy. Understand, when you go no contact or you go low contact with your narcissistic parent, it's extremely painful. So what you need to do is you need to mourn the loss of this parent that they should have been. You need to feel this pain. And it's not going to be a one-time thing. It may be like a year you haven't talked to them and that pain may randomly come up. Every time that pain comes up, you need to feel it. You need to mourn that loss. The same way you would with someone that has passed. And you need to feel these emotions and you need to validate them. You need to validate that you're angry and you're hurt. You need to make sure that you are reparenting yourself and you are nurturing yourself and you're soothing yourself through those moments. And make sure that you're aware of your needs and you give yourself those needs. And you need to acknowledge that you did not receive what you should have received as a child. You didn't receive care, you didn't receive love, you didn't receive respect, you didn't receive the support. And that wasn't fair to you, because every single human deserves that, and you unfortunately did not receive that. So you need to mourn the loss of this parent that you had hoped they would have been. And you need to understand you did deserve that love. It was their fault they didn't give it to you. And so your inner child may cry out randomly, and you need to comfort that inner child. Give yourself that love that you needed. Give yourself the support. Reach out for emotional support. Surround yourself around people that can give you that love that you needed. And make sure you're really giving yourself that love. And when that guilt and that shame comes up, understand you're not doing anything wrong. They wronged you. These are the consequences of what happens when someone mistreats someone. They mistreated you. These are the consequences they have to deal with. They don't deserve your time or your love or a relationship with you. So you will have to go on your own healing journey when you go no contact. Now, when you're going no contact, let's talk about what to expect from your narcissistic parent and from the people around you, so you know how to better deal with it. So when you go no contact, or you don't give the narcissist what they want, they'll go and do a smear campaign. So expect that they're going to make up lies about you. They're gonna try to alienate you from other people. They are pissed they didn't get what they wanted. So if they can get what they want, then they're going to make it look like you're this terrible person that's doing something to them. They're the victim. My child won't talk to me. They're the worst person in the world. I'm suffering so bad. I'm so hurt. I can't believe they're doing this to me. They want attention because they couldn't get your attention. Their extension of themselves is rejecting them. They can't handle that rejection. So they're doing what like a little kid does and just saying the first thing that comes out of their mouth. Because they're in so much pain, they don't know how to deal with this pain. They don't understand why their child doesn't want to talk to them. They can't understand that they're the cause of it. So they may think you're the cause, and so they completely will destroy your character. So when you're dealing with this smear campaign, cut people off that are believing the lies. Cut off their flying monkeys. Cut off people that are trying to bring you into this drama. And understand it's something that's out of your control. Focus on what you can control. You don't want people that are going to believe this BS about you. Or if it's someone that you have to be around, set a healthy boundary of letting them know you don't want to speak about your parent. The next thing to expect is they will not respect your boundaries. So you tell them, don't talk to me, they're going to reach out. They're going to text you, they're going to call you, they may show up to your house, they're going to write letters. They're going to be like these like loving letters, like, oh, I miss you, please stop hurting me, all this bullshit. They're going to hoover over you. They can't accept that you have boundaries and that you don't want to talk to them. It is a huge blow to their ego, which they can't handle, and they also don't respect because they didn't make that decision. So once you expect that, you know what to do. Don't give in to it. Don't respond to their letters. Don't respond to any of their calls. Don't answer the door if they show up. Do what you need to do to not give in to them. Now, not all parents will respond like this. Mainly covert and codependent parents will respond like this. But there are some more neglectful parents that may not show a care at all. And they won't reach out. And it will be a relief, but at the same time, it will also feel sad because you wish and hope they'd show they cared. Now, if you go low contact, make sure that you enforce your boundaries and enforce consequences if they don't respect those boundaries. So if they keep calling after 9 p.m., tell them that you're no longer going to answer their phone calls until they stop calling after 9 p.m. Something like that. The next thing is that you may change your mind and contact them. And this is because logically you know they are that way and it makes sense, but emotionally it's a lot harder to accept that and get there. And so you may second guess yourself, criticize yourself, guilt yourself, shame yourself. You may fear you will regret it. You will have a lot of compassion for the narcissist maybe. You may feel obligated and have people in your ear telling you have to talk to your narcissistic parent. And often, like, they're flying monkeys or family members, people close to them, will beg you to talk to them or try to encourage you to talk to them. And so it's okay for you to change your mind, and it's okay if you do reach out to them. That's expected. You're going to miss them. Well, let me say, some people do and some people don't, but there's going to be times, like there were good moments with your narcissistic parent. They weren't bad 100% of the time. That was why you were part of that cycle of abuse, part of that love bombing. And you may feel indebted to them because they were there for you when you were sick, or they gave you a roof over your head. And so you may feel that guilt for cutting off contact. So expect you to change your mind and go very back and forth. But you need to be the one that understands, like, when you do go back, it restarts the cycle of them then hoovering over you and disrespecting you and mistreating you again. And you may get tricked by their love bombing and be convinced that they've changed. And if you go back, there will be a temporary change, but it's for image purposes, and eventually their true colors will show. So they will say the right things, but eventually the mask will fall off and their true intentions will come out. So that's why it's super important that you are consistent as much as possible. It's okay if you reach out. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that you're consistent as much as possible. And the one thing that you do always want to do, no matter what, is you always do need to make sure that you enforce your boundaries. But you can change your mind, and that's okay. Another thing to expect is that you may want to go back and talk to them when you're in crisis mode or there is a crisis. So if something were to happen to them, you may want to go and talk to them. Also, like if they were your safety and you have that intense trauma bond and you feel like you need them, you may want to go back, and you have urges to go back, especially if you're very codependent and you feel validated in helping them and taking care of them. You also may still be looking for their approval, so you may want to go back to see if, like, maybe they'll approve of you, like you've done all these great things, and you may want to see if they finally care. You may feel distraught and not know how to deal with these emotions, so you may want it to stop, so then you may want to reach out. You may feel like you can't do it on your own without them, and you may also worry about their health and that they can't live without you either. They also may have played the guilt card so much, and they played on your emotions, and you may feel like you have to talk to them. Or you heard something bad, you heard they went through something, and then you will feel like you need to talk to them to make sure they're okay. That's something you need to make a decision on your own. If their health declines or something happens and you feel like you want to go back, then it's okay. But just understand, you're not obligated. You don't have to. It's a choice that you need to make. Without guilt, without shame, just make that choice of what's best for you. But only go back and talk to them if you want to, not because you feel like you have to. But if you notice you feel a lot better not talking to them and having no contact, then do that. You need to do what most benefits you. The next thing to expect is not only are you going to guilt and shame yourself, but other people are going to guilt and shame you as well. So a lot of times people project their own insecurities onto you. So like if they had a bad relationship with their parent and they still talk to them, they'll guilt and shame you. And like, oh, like I talk to my parent, you should too. Or like other people, they don't understand, they just don't get it. And they're like, you should talk to your mom no matter what. Like you need to forgive, you need to get over it. And people just won't get it. And that's something you have to accept, is people are not going to get it. And it feels lonely, but at the same time, like you just have to set that boundary of understanding, like you can't talk to that person about it because they're just not going to get it, and that's okay. You can talk to people that do get it, but expect people to guilt and shame you. It's important for you to not give in to that guilt and shame. You'll probably be triggered. I've definitely been triggered before, really bad. Like I was ready to throw hands, like, girl, you poking a soft spot, don't make me go to jail. But no, when you get triggered, it can trigger you to spiral and feel like you're a bad person, or worry if you're making the wrong decision, especially when you have people saying things. But again, you have to remember, your narcissistic parent put this on themselves. They didn't care how they made you feel when you were crying alone in your room, asking the universe why they were treating you this way. They didn't care when they were torturing your life. You have to remember why you are staying away and think about the progress you've made since you haven't spoke to them. If people don't understand, you're not obligated to explain it to them. Speak about it to people that are more empathetic and will show you that compassion and understanding. Or just start telling people that they ran away to the circus. It's much less difficult to explain. But you can't give in to what other people's expectations and their norm. you need to do what's best for you. Especially flying monkeys. They're gonna come in and they're gonna try to guilt and shame you and feed you all of these stories and these lies. So that's super important. Never give in to that guilt and shame from others. When people do guilt and shame you, you need to set a boundary of discussing those things with them, and you need to accept they're not going to understand. And the last thing is, if you have siblings, expect that you will all have different views on your narcissistic parent. I've talked about before how when you grow up in a narcissistic home, you will all play different roles to your narcissistic parent, which is the reason why you will all have a completely different upbringing. So some of your siblings will think you're nuts and they won't get it, which is usually the golden children. And then some of your other siblings may understand. And then some may get it but also be in denial. If majority of your siblings don't see it your way or they are against you for it, don't automatically think that you're wrong and that you're crazy. Ask yourself what your siblings' relationship is like with your narcissistic parent. Does it seem like it's a healthy relationship? Are they able to pinpoint some of the things that are wrong in your family, or is it just mainly you? You want to remind yourself of these things so you don't gaslight yourself and you accept and understand this is part of the unhealthy dynamic. So like I said, going no contact or going low contact is never easy. It's hard. You're going to be internally dealing with it, and there's also going to be outside influences that are going to affect you. But again, you have to do what's best for you. So you may need to block them. You may need to tell them, I'm no longer speaking to you. And some people, they like to say their last F you to them and then completely block them. You do what you feel is best for you. But if you, like I said earlier, if you feel like the relationship hurts you more than it benefits you, cut it off. Or if you feel like you want to go low contact, that's okay too. Don't let your narcissistic parent guilt you for the little amount of time that you want to spend with them or talk to them. You need to do what's best for you. And like I said, you have to be consistent. So when you expect these things, you know that you need to be consistent. And you need to make sure you don't give in to their tantrums. So what do you guys think? Leave it all in the comments below, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share with someone that you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye guys. The weather is so humid and it's making my hair very big and frizzy, but guess who doesn't care? This girl. You get what you get and you don't get upset. Because I have all this built up anxiety. Not anxiety. Change your mind and my battery's dying. I gotta charge you. And you need to I feel like I'm saying not get it too many times. It is an intense bond where they're supposed but no,